What is up, Borough fans, and welcome back to the Radcliffe FC YouTube channel. We have a very special video in store for you today. We've been asking for all your questions on social media for the manager, Lee Fowler, and I'm delighted to say, joining me via Zoom is the man himself. I'll bring him in now. How are we, Fowles?
Not too good, mate, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Keep smiling, mate. Keep smiling. It won't be long. Obviously, we've had plenty of questions from the fans this week. I'm just going to read them out to you, and then just tell us what you think. Give the fans what they want to know, because they want to know all your secrets, all your managerial tips and tricks and everything. So there's a few questions there, as I just said to you, that I think some people are coming after my job, which I'm very scared about. I'm not going to lie. As I say, it means only good for us. So I'll start off with the first question. We're quite entertaining and have plenty of attacking options, scoring plenty of goals. What are your plans for sorting out the back line, as we need to score 3 to win games at the moment?
Yeah, it's something that we've it has been a common theme, really, sort of especially in the last sort of month and a half, where we are great going forward, but we always look like we're going to concede as well. But this time off has given us a massive reflection in terms of why are we conceding goals, and it's purely down to the fact that we are too attacking. The lads have got given jobs to do, and going over the games, and it's only pre-season really where we look really solid, and I was playing 5-3-2 5-3-2. Since we've changed the formation, I think we have gone a little bit more attacking. Both full-backs are bombing on too much, even though they've been told only one to go and one to tuck around, and then Si Lenigan does the sit and roll in front. So ultimately, if the players can't do the jobs they've been asked them to do, you ultimately have to change the people within them formations, because going forward we look electric, but then if your left back's crossing the ball and your right back's at the edge of the back stick, you're suspect to a counter attack. It is something that we've been aware of. These couple of weeks off has highlighted it even more, but it is something that we will be changing and being a little bit more steadier at the back and a little bit gung-ho.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you try and find the happy balance, isn't it, with the personnel, the formation, and then it all clicks, hopefully, and you get the results, isn't it, sort of thing?
Well, that's this, the people are looking, is it a goalkeeper that's costing us goals? Well, only there was a game against Whitby, I think Cam cost us 2 goals. Can you blame the centre-halves at the minute? No, I think all the centre-halves are playing really well. And it is down to the fact that most of our goals are coming from wide areas and the full-back areas, and that's because there's spaces left there. So, I know that people say it's the goalkeeper or the centre-halves, but ultimately we know where the weakness was, and it's something we're going to have to address. So I think we have to put a square peg in a square hole. I think rather than having attacking full-backs on both sides, I think we might have to sacrifice a little bit going forward from the back, because you can't change the front three. You don't want to change the midfield 3 or 4, whoever the diamond, whoever plays in there. So ultimately you've got to sacrifice at the back, and that means we can't be too attacking. That doesn't mean we're not going to be boring, and because I can only play one way really, which should be an attacking football. But ultimately I just need the people at full backs to stay in their pockets rather than constantly going forward.
Yeah, you can completely understand. I think it's a problem that most managers have, depending wherever it is on the pitch. But obviously, speaking about fullbacks at the moment, I'll move on to the next question, which is like a double-loaded question. So I'll start with the first one. Before playing each team, do you or your coaching team have a chance to go and look at your future opponents, or have a chance to see video of your future opponents so you can plan each game, sort of thing?
Yeah, I watch every game. I try and watch 3 or 4 times of them. I write all the stuff down: team formations, shape, set pieces they've done. Then I'll go and collect some data and watch them 3 or 4 times previous to the game we play them. It's important that I give the lads as much detail as I possibly can. I write about 10 pages on each team, but when I come to deliver the message to the lads, it's only probably about 5-6 things that to help them out. So I always do my research on teams. I think you have to. I think if you're lazy as a manager, you'll get found out, which you found out with a few managers already this season.
Yeah, this person follows on with once you've seen these strengths and weaknesses, do you adapt on your formation, your tactics to help your strengths battle their strengths in the game, sort of thing?
We won't change how we play, but we will certainly expose their weaknesses 100%. Farsley Celtic and the Warrington game, we knew they wouldn't play football against us or couldn't match us in the football in terms. So after sort of 5-10 minutes when we were in the battle, we sort of changed around to a football game. I know we lost both games, but ultimately you've got to see how it goes. And if we went a little bit more physical in them games, it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So you have to work out people's strengths and weaknesses. And against Bamber Bridge in the league game, we knew they were a good football inside, but we knew they were a little bit naive, a little wet behind the ears. So we went a little bit more physical. We changed the midfield 3 to more physical, and Crothers, Joffy and Si Lenigan, and they couldn't deal with the physicality of it. And then the reverse fixture in the FA Trophy, we went and played football. We've dominated the game, but they won 2-1. So ultimately you've got to find different ways to beat your opponents.
It's just about being adaptable, isn't it, sort of thing, on the pitch, and in that way off. off the pitch, so you can bring the players on that make the difference, sort of thing. And that's something that we'll get better at this season, sort of thing. We'll learn different things about different players. You'll learn things about players, and we'll start to see the results turn in our favour rather than like the Bamber Bridge game. They'll be in our favour rather than Bamber going through into the next round, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The next one's quite interesting actually, because this is something that is quite a bit different to what happens at the very top of the football pyramid. This person asks, how does signings work? Do you scout them first, and how do you find the contact details for them? So basically, how do you sign the players that you want to sign?
So I'm always looking for players. LinkedIn and researching, Google, YouTube. People recommended them. My links within the game, which are quite big anyway. Then I'll speak to the player individually. I'll speak to a player for a good couple of weeks before I bring him into the football club to make sure he's the right type of player that I want. And as I say, I recruit on people first rather than the ability. Some managers are different, but I like to work with people who, as I say, misfits or the people who haven't been given a chance. These are the people that I can really work with and really get the best out of and create a good environment for them. Because ultimately, most managers will just neglect them and get rid of them, but they're the ones who've got the point to prove. They're the ones who probably got the most ability. And as I say, always looking for players, and it just with me being full time is part of my job that I've got to do that. Agents ring you every day. Other managers ring you. You're in group chats with other 60 other managers who are recommending players or saying this player's for loan. But ultimately, I'll just make my own decision on it.
I can imagine that your phone's always buzzing, no matter what time of the day. Must be annoying at times, but very helpful considering that you're at a newish club to yourself. Well, not even new anymore, but like you can learn different things from other managers and then get the signings in as well, sort of thing.
Yeah, as I said, with me, I don't really sort of with other managers, and that's what you're saying with the players and that. But ultimately, I make my own decisions. I don't need advice off other managers in terms of player recruitment, because I recruit different to a lot of other managers. One man's rubbish is another man's treasure. I've had players who play for us this season who have been told they're bad eggs and they're this, that, and the other, and one of them just got a player of the month on last month. So it's just all swings and roundabouts. As I say, I judge my own people by my own ethics and morals. I don't listen to anyone else. As I said, I'm with my players. I'm either 100% all in or I'm zero. You don't get 50% with Lee Fowler, and I think that's what the players who have not just at this club, who all clubs I've managed or coached, they seem to respect the way I manage.
It's a good point that you can come away with, and the players and everyone from the club still speak very highly of you, sort of thing. And I can imagine that is the case in a lot of places where you've been.
Well, every club, yeah. I think every club where I've been to, there's not many people who will say a bad word against you, and if they do, I don't really care. It's just the way I am as a person. If you want an honest answer, don't ask an honest question. Yeah. So that's my morals.
We'll move on to the next question, and I'm sure plenty of people around the club will know the answer to this one. What does Files think of the fans?
They've been brilliant. They, if truth be told, I still think there's a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Not anxiety, maybe a sort of. I think they're starting to. They are backing me, and they are backing the players. I think last season is still there a little bit for me. I can feel it. There's been 3 or 4 occasions this season where the atmosphere in the ground has been superb. We have got a lot to prove to them still. And that happens by winning games of football. So they can see we work hard. They see the lads, the style of play we're trying to play. They've been very respectful of me and my team, but ultimately I still think there's that little hangover from the John and Frank era, and sort of the Daz and Gaz and Margie's situation, which sort of ripped their soul out of the club. But on the whole, I'd say about 85% of the fans are with us and with me. It's getting them over 15% now and really making it loud and proud of the team. And once we start sorting out the issues we talked about, winning games of football is, I've got no doubt we will be up there and thereabouts. And I'm saying to the lads is, we're equivalent to Burnley in the Premier League. That's who I see us as in terms of budget wise. But I think we're Burnley in terms of budget wise, but I think we can be a Leicester. Leicester didn't have the biggest of budgets, but they went and succeeded and won the Premier League. And I'm not saying we can win the league, because there's a lot of teams which are paying big money, can triple our wages by a country mile. But what we have got is a group of people from top to bottom who are all connected into one, which I don't believe many of these clubs have got.
Yeah, I was gonna say that myself. Yeah, I think you realise that on the pitch and off it, the amount of time that the players spend with each other, they spend with yourself, they spend with like people around the club. I think we started that before the season even began with the camping trip, and then pre-season we were all together, sort of thing, and that's starting to spill out into the fans, isn't it, as well, sort of?
Yeah, I think obviously with COVID, it's we want the lads to go and have a pint with the fans. We want them to engage, and at the minute it's like a little bit of a prison cell, inside the bar with the sectioned off, and it does look like we're detached from the fans, which trust me, we stay there till 7:30 at night. Me, Tomo, Reese, the players. We have a few beers after, and it'd be nothing better to go and sit and have a few beers with the fans, watching the games after we played and talk about football. But ultimately, we're governed by what's happening with the government. Soon we won't be far off between you getting to know really deep down my players and my staff.
Yeah, I think that'll change quite a few opinions as well of different people, won't it? Once you get the chance to have a pint with people, it changes a lot of things. I think sends back to what your previous answer, and it went, how difficult has it been coming to the club? First of all, mid-season on some sort of a downward spiral, putting your own mark on the club and stabilising it, and then putting together your own team and COVID stopping the flow of games. So it's quite a big question, that, but I'll pose the first bit to you. How hard was it coming to the club, like mid-season sort of thing?
It was difficult because I don't think no matter what I would have done, the fans, it wasn't nothing against me. I just think it was against the situation that happened with John and Frank. It was difficult. You could have brought in Jurgen Klopp, and I think they still would have been not happy. Then the follow-on events, the losses and how the club was gone, losing key players with big characters. Your Scotty Metcalfs, your Bens, some big key players. It was difficult, and to be honest with you, I was, from the day I got the job, was the day I was preparing to rip the whole team out. It had to be done. I had to change everything. I had to do it my way. We had to create new heroes. We had to create new Scott Metcalfs, Bens, Princes, Tundys. We had to create a new era of a style of play, which I do think we're on the course of seeing a different, completely style of play. I do believe that, I'm a big character. I do believe what I'm doing in and around the club and off the club is starting to come to fruition. I work very, very hard, and that's what I bring. And there's stuff going on behind the scenes, which I've been a massive part of, which will be coming to fruition soon, maybe this season or maybe in the summer. We can't talk too much about, but it's important that myself and the chairman are working hand in hand with not just the first team, but other things around it.
Yeah, it's a pivotal time for the club sort of thing, with obviously the situation that we've been put in by the government, but obviously things off the pitch with the juniors and other things like that, and that we've welcomed new people to the club. It's just been a big year sort of thing, including welcoming yourself and new players. I'm gonna ask you this as a sub question to that. How hard has it been with COVID to try and, I think you touched on it before, to bring players in, get to know the players, and then obviously have them gel on a match day sort of thing?
To be honest with you, we've got more than anyone, mate. We've got a fantastic group of players. They're uploading work every day. The running they're doing is ridiculous. They're a fit group. I haven't seen a fitter team in the league than us this season. That's including your full-time teams as well. They're just a pleasure to work with. And I do get, somebody said the other day I'm too close to the players. I do get close to the players, but that doesn't mean to say I don't give them rollickings or afraid to fall out with them or afraid to make them leave the football club. I love my players. I love working with the lads. But ultimately, if they don't do the job, they'll leave the football club. Now, that's not me being a dictatorship or my way or the highway. It's literally just, I love you to bits, but if you don't do your job and we need to win football games, I have to make a decision for the football club. But we're lucky. I'm blessed with the players we've got. They're not on the biggest money in the world, but they give everything they got. Every session, every game, the style of play they're playing as well. The value for money for me, what they're giving us is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we played on that the other week with the pay-per-view thing, and it did quite well. We've seen a lot of people come in from that sort of thing. Now we've had a bit of time to reflect these. I think it's been 2 weeks, week and a half, where we've been locked in our home sort of thing. And I can imagine that you've had time to reflect on the season so far and what your aspirations are. And this next question is asking about that. He says, what are your aims for the season, and where in the table would you be looking at trying to finish? Quite specific.
We're looking to finish as high as we possibly can. I think, like I said to you before, in terms of budget-wise, we are burning. There's not, you can't get away from it. There's teams in our league with budgets of up to £7,000, £8,000, £9,000 a week, which we're nowhere near that, not even half or a quarter of that. So ultimately, I don't think there's much in the league. If the South Shields are the two-go team to go and win the league, it was a difficult game, but we beat them 3-1. Warrington is second in the league. How we lost that game is beyond me. Buxton game was the only game really where it was the first game of the season. It was nerves. There was a little bit of edginess, and we lost 4-2. But I think if we played Buxton again, it wouldn't be 4-2. So now I've got my full team back. I've only got Curtis Obeng, and I did say when I've got my full back line back, judge me on my team. And the last 6 results in the league, we've won 3, drawn 2, and lost 1. If I would have had that team from the start, I generally believe we'd be at the top of the table. So the answer to your question is we're going to win lots of games of football. We know where we need to sort out to stop the goals going in. We're not going to stop playing how we play, because I think it's enjoyable to watch. It's just restricting their chances and maximising ours. So we'll just win loads of games. Try and win as many games of football as we possibly can and get it right at that top end of the table.
Yeah, I think it's refreshing to see that a manager, even at this level that we're at now, is sticking to his guns and he doesn't want to get rid of players, ridicule players, and wants to play your style of football. Because I think, like you said, value for money wise, I doubt you'll find a better team in the league or anything for £10 to come to the ground and watch the style of football, the goals that we're scoring, the way that we're playing. I think it's massively refreshing.
We're the best team in the league. I got no doubt about it. You know, all you have to do is listen to your peers and the managers, and your Curtis Woodhouses, your Cards, Basefords when we played them as well. There was only one team who actually played better football than us, and that was Workington in the FA Cup. They actually dominated possession of the ball. The good thing with our team is we can play both ways. We can play total football and we can play physically and direct. Ultimately, we just got to fine tune the little mistakes, as it's evident to see. And I've got no doubt whether people, the accolades are coming for these lads and they deserve it. Can we be better? Of course you can. Can you cut out mistakes? Of course you can. Are we looking to improve the squad? 100%. But like I said to you before, for £10 and the style of play, some of the things that I've seen, it's left me over the last 5-6 games has left me very, very proud to watch these lads. And what people don't realise is we didn't have a training ground for a month and a half. We were doing sessions. Yourself, we were doing sessions in the bar. We were doing yoga. The Radcliffe fans probably seen the squad running around Radcliffe. Nothing's ever been said about that. The injuries or the no training ground. We've just got on with it. We just never told anyone, and that's how we are as a club. If somebody gets injured, so next man comes in. I've got a training ground. Doesn't matter. We'll just keep going on with things.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we've always done. We've partly gone about our business, and we end up seeing brilliant results at the end of it all, which I really like about the club sort of thing, and I'm sure many others do. This question is a compliment, but then he goes into a question which you sort of answered already. Is we've seen what the team is capable in moments this season, but we're not always capable of grabbing the 3 points. And the question is, what do you think it is that makes us so inconsistent with results? But I'm gonna add to that. We've already spoke about this sort of thing, but what do you say to the players as well to turn these losses into draws and wins? I think we've spoke about it before, sort of thing.
Margins, isn't it? Prime example, the game where we lost against Bamber Bridge, my left back is crossing the ball in, and my most experienced player on the park, in Tom Miller, is at the back stick, and then they go and score off a counter attack. The second goal, we told them before the game, we told that Bamber Bridge like to make runs from out to in. We give them the information before the game. They score the second goal. The winger comes out to in, plays a through ball through, and he scores in the first minute of the second half. They've just got to take the details in. That's all it is. It's fine margin details. Once they start to do that, as you say, once they cross the white line, they get given the information. And the last 3 or 4 goals we've conceded, we've actually worked on in the training leading up to them games. So we've actually told them the goals that they were scored. Bamber Bridge will score from crosses. If you remember the first one, Matty Crothers chops back and the lad runs off Joffrey and scores from a cross. So we're actually giving them the information how they're going to try and score. So ultimately, once they cross the white line, they have to do their jobs. And I think what happens is when you're a technical footballer side, sometimes neglect the nitty gritty. If you're a defender, you're there to keep a clean sheet. I think because we dominate possession quite a lot, everybody thinks they can get their tuxedos on and think, oh, we're a good team, we're a good players. And but sometimes you need the people with boiler suits on who are going to do the ugly stuff and make sure the clean sheet. Because I would be the happiest man in the world to have a 1-0 clean sheet and a win.
Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of happy smiley faces around the ground with those. This question is about the club in general, sort of thing. So the question is, what do you think of the club overall and the support you've been given from the staff and the fans so far?
Yeah, it's brilliant. The club's been brilliant. I think it's a perfect fit for me and the club. I think the timing has been really good. I think both myself and Marcus and the chairman align together in terms of how we are as people. And it's just a perfect fit. I think it's a good club for me to really in a good place. Very rarely do you get owners and staff around you in a football club where it's all aligned, really. I've been at some clubs where the relationships are not great between manager and board and staff, and we don't have none of that here. And it's perfect. It makes my job easier to go into. As I said, we haven't got much money, but what we have, everything I've asked for, they've given me. The game readies, the ice baths, the change rooms being done, the little percentages that we meet to make better as a football club, they're coming along the ride with me. And that's why I think the fruition of what we're going to see, is going to be over the next sort of 6 to 18 months. And it could be a massive journey, and one I want to be massively proud of and want to be sticking around, because I don't want to be moving clubs. I want to be stayed here for a couple of years and we have some success. And it's important that I don't make the same mistakes as I did as a player, now as a manager. And the grass is always not greener elsewhere.
I'm glad that this has become your home in the past year, sort of thing, that we found the right fit, and things will, as you said, the things will start to come to fruition in the very near future, on both on and off the pitch. I've got 3 final questions for you, and they're kind of personal ones, which you'll be able to answer better than most people.
Yeah.
So it says, where do you see yourself in the future as well as the club?
see myself being a Football League manager. That's my ambition. I've said from day one, I've had a few interviews for Football League jobs before I took this one. I was linked with another job this week, and ultimately I want to be a Football League manager. All my mates are managing. One of my best mates, the first team coach at Fleetwood, and my other mate's the first team coach at Mansfield. One of my mates has just got the Chelsea assistant manager's job or the first team coach job, and it is something that I want to do. And hopefully I can do here with this club, which I think we can at some point. As I said, it's not going to be an initial quick fix. I don't think. The reality is you're fighting against a lot of other factors, with finances being one of them. Now, how we close the gap between the finances is creating an environment what we have, and as soon as we do the other side of it, we're not fearful of no team, no budget, no team. And as I said, it really is a perfect club for me to be at.
The next one, this is quite an interesting one actually. What have been your best and worst moments in your career as a player and then as a manager as well?
Obviously, the worst is the spiralling out of football, the depression, the sort of the stuff that people don't really see. Just think everything makes you happy. In terms of in football, the promotions are good, the meeting people, the banter's really good. That's the one thing which I enjoyed the most, is training and the banter. But I've had 6 promotions as a player, and as a manager, the worst thing is losing a game of football. It can spoil your whole weekend, can spoil the next till you next go into training, and ultimately, if you win, you feel top of the world. So I've won the league as a manager myself, which was good for my first manager's job, which was good. But ultimately, I'd say the same. Winning is brilliant, and then losing just ruins your whole weekend.
I can add that sentiment myself, and it feels bad on me when Radcliffe lose a game on the Saturday. I'm going home a bit miserable. Going home a bit miserable and not happy with the rest of my weekend. So I can imagine with you working with the players and everything like that, it's exactly the same. We'll move on to the final question of the Q&A. Thank you to everyone that's sent in questions. Give us loads of comments as well on social media. We really appreciate it. The final question that we'll go with is, how does Radcliffe compare to the other teams that you've been involved with? How do you see yourself being at Radcliffe for the long term if things are going well, both on and off the pitch?
The difference between obviously here and my last couple of clubs is the connection you've got with the owner and the board, really, in terms of the chairman and Marcus. Is they're really supportive. Alan Hardy was a very nightmare to work with, and that's when I walked away from my contract. I didn't like how it was. The fans were brilliant at Ilston, but ultimately it was an environment that nobody could succeed or work in or want to work in. Whereas here, it's brilliant. They're very supportive of me. They back me. It's a good club. It really is a good club. The potential's there to be massive, and there is loads of work that needs to be done. I know they've grown from 70 fans now up to I think the record the other day was 500. Was there? There's some 500 fans there, but I think there still can be more to be done. There's no high school in the area. There's only a junior school. Got to go and engage these schools to go and get the fans in. And ultimately, as I said, we can't say too much, but there potentially could be some big news coming over the next 6 or 12 months, which I want to be a massive part of in terms of both first team football and other football. And that's where we've got to be. We've got to keep growing, keep getting better. Ultimately, everybody wants to do is get promoted and win, be competitive at the top end of the league, which I think we will be, and just keep working hard. That's the only thing I can do is just keep working very, very hard to make things better every day.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You don't get anything without hard work, isn't it? And it's one of the things that is in football and elsewhere that you'll see. Hard work. If you don't work hard, you don't get anywhere, sort of thing. So just going to say a massive thank you to Fowles for doing this Q&A, and thank you obviously to all the fans for all the questions. Did you enjoy it, Fowles?
Yeah, mate, it was good. It's good to get to speak to the fans, mate.
Yeah, it's a shame we don't get to do it in a bit of a different environment, sort of thing, but we'll make do at the moment. So obviously that was the Q&A with Fowles. We'll wrap this up here. First of all, I've got a couple of questions for you all. Who would you like to see next on the Q&A session? We'll try and get a player or another member of the coaching staff or someone around the club. So feel free to put the suggestions in the comments and everything like that. And remember to follow us on social media to find out who we do get next and when it's going to be. We'd love to hear from you. And once again, thank you for all your questions. It's been amazing. And we'll hope to see you all in the next one. Stay safe, guys.